What's the process, Martin?
Right.
That's where you were at.
Okay. So if you think about HTML as a recipe, and you have like all the ingredients in there. You have a bunch of text, you have a bunch of images, you have a bunch of stuff, but you don't really have it in the recipe. The recipe is a piece of paper with all these instructions on how to make a thing. Now, the resources of a website are the ingredients, such as the CSS, the JavaScript files, as well as the images, the videos, all of that stuff that you load on, to actually make the page look the way that it looks afterwards. And then the website that you know and use in your browser and you see in your browser, that's the final dish. And rendering is pretty much the cooking or the preparation process of that. So crawling fundamentally just goes into a big book of recipes and like takes out a page with a recipe and then puts that into our realm, our reach. Like basically we are standing here on a kitchen table and we just wait for or on a countertop, and we wait for the cooking to begin, and crawling would basically just hand us a recipe. And then rendering is the process where rendering goes, aha, interesting. So crawler over there, can you get me these 10 ingredients? And the crawler conveniently will be like, yes, I got you these 10 ingredients that you need. Thank you very much. And then we start cooking. That's what rendering is. So rendering parses the HTML. HTML fundamentally, when it comes from crawling, is just a bunch of text. Conveniently formatted text, but text. And in order to make that into a visual representation, which is the website really, we need to render it, which means we need to fetch all the resources. We need to fundamentally understand what the text tells us to be like. Oh, so there's a header here. Okay. Then there's an image there. And next to the image, there's a bunch of text. And then under the image, there's another heading. It's a smaller heading. It's a lower level heading. It's like basically indented in the structure of the content. And then there's a video, and then below that video, there's some more text. And then in this text, there's 3 links going to here, here, and here. And all this assembly process, this understanding what it is, and then this assembling it into a visual representation that you can interact with in your browser window, that is rendering. And as part of rendering, at the very first stage, we execute